That's the beauty of Mr. Bob's, is that all of the volunteers know that when they come down there, the blinders go on. We don't care why you're here, how you got here, what addictions you have. We're here to serve you today. And when you walk out of this park, we want to make darn sure that you know that we love you and we care for you, and we'll be back next week.
Extraordinary people in our community, I would say, are
Positively Milwaukee.
I'm excited to have you join us.
PozCast.
So I have a familiar face and friend here at the table for the Positively Milwaukee podcast today. It is Bob Burmeister, who is the Bob from Mr. Bob's Under the Bridge.
Thank you.
We go back, Bob. It's been a
do.
while, but I want people to learn about the humble beginnings of Mr. Bob's Under the Bridge. And it really started with some backpacks in 2007?
Yes. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to shorten this up for you so we're not here for 3 days, because I could be here for 3 days talking about
right.
Mr. Bob's Under the Bridge. My wife and I, Mrs. Bob, I call her, by the way, we were volunteering at Cross Lutheran Church, which is on 16th and Walnut. And they had, every week, they had what they call the Bread of Healing or Bread of Ministry meal. And homeless people, whoever needed a meal, would come in and we would serve them. We would cook and serve them. I found myself more out in the audience because I wasn't good at like putting salads together or anything like that. But I found myself talking to the population, the homeless population that had come to that, and got to know them because I had some experience early on in my life with some homeless friends that lived over by the Holton Street Bridge. So I wanted to know their stories. I'm always enamored by, how do you do this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And doing this was really like, how are you able to live outside?
Exactly.
Which is some of the basics,
Yes.
right?
Yep. And so one day, I'll never forget it, was in August. We were on our way home, and something hit me in the head and said, do more. And I had no clue what that meant.
But you answered the call.
I had no clue. It took me until about November to figure out, you know, I've had this experience with homeless people when I was very young, right? And maybe that's the road I should go down. Maybe I should do more research on this. So Mrs. Bob, Sue, and I put together 6 backpacks, and I thought, boy, this is amazing. You know, I hope I can get rid of all these. And I ended up down in the city one night, and within 15 minutes, all 6 backpacks were gone. And my heart sunk because there were people waiting for backpacks, and I didn't have them. And from that day moving forward, I said, we will never run out of anything. Moving forward, if we're going to do this, we're not going to run out of things.
And you have been blessed with some amazing partners and donations in order to keep that promise.
Yeah, we have. You know, we moved into a warehouse 3 years ago now, I believe.
6 backpacks to a warehouse.
Yeah, 18 years though.
Hey.
Yeah, but we moved into a warehouse that is our, not only for sorting, for bringing donations in. We have a little office there so we can visit with people if they want to come visit. It's so organized, it's unbelievable. But everything is done in that warehouse now, where when we started, everything, guess where that was done? In my garage. So when we were building hygiene packs for our friends, Sue and I would have these chairs that would roll, you know, like an office chair.
Yes.
And we would spin around and go through these tubs or bins and pick out the toothpaste and the soap and put them in.
And you had this little, I shouldn't say little, but trailer, small trailer compared to what you have now these days.
That was the very first trailer I purchased for $100. I think the lettering cost more. But that, I think what happened was after, you know, I had been out on the streets for about a year probably, you know, and I got to know these people so well. They were such great people. And one day I ended up at Kosciuszko Park and sat down with 3 of my friends that I saw that were there, just sitting at the park bench, and said, tell me what you need. And that's when the whole thing started, you know, where we were asking them to come visit us so we can, hand out and serve. That's
I'm moved by when you speak of your work and the humanity that you see in the work that you do. Were you doing this plus a full-time job, or
Still
had you
am.
walked?
Still
Oh,
am.
Still am to this day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
God has provided.
It's been an amazing journey for me to watch Mr. Bob's take its own life, right? I think the big thing for me is I have such great people that surround me. I mean, I have a great wife that
I was about to say Mrs. Bob.
she is fully active, and I have she's actually our secretary on our board, Sherry, who has managed that warehouse since we had it, but also we were down in the basement of a church for a long time doing this sorting too. So she's managed all of that, and she's been with us for 15 years,
15 years?
Yeah.
And she just started as a volunteer?
Yeah, she started as a volunteer and just fell in love with it. I always say you drank the Kool-Aid, but it's just amazing to me the people that surround me because, and I tell this to everybody, it's not about me. It's about my friends in the city that we serve, and it's about the people that allow us to do that.
And I think the first time that I interacted with you was in 2017 when a group of us from TMJ4 volunteered on a early Saturday morning.
Was it cold?
Yes, it was cold. And I remember at the time, though, again, before you had really progressed into what you have now, this well-oiled machine, I remember you would come out with that truck. You would then have these bins, and we would dump the bins over on a tarp, and then we would help people try to find what it is they needed with what we had. And then we had people who had food. Oh, yeah, see, there we go. I was a little thinner then. But, what you have now, I mean, I am just amazed. I mean, now you have a mobile shower.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. And how did that come about?
Well, in 2018, I had this brainiac storm again that my mind doesn't stop, and I'm always trying to think what are the ways that we can better serve, right? And so I went to the board, and I'll never forget this night. I told the board that we're going to look for a shower trailer for Mr. Bob's. And so they said, well, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. But what had happened, what sparked me to that is when Katrina had come through down in New Orleans and in Biloxi, I had a group of 8 guys that I put together, and we went down there and volunteered and helped with houses. We stayed at a FEMA camp that had shower trailers. So that's what kind of sparked my interest in these shower trailers. Mm-hmm. And as we're walking out of that board meeting, I had no idea what this was going to cost. But I said it's going to be done. Within a year, we're going to put this together, and we're not, we're just going to talk about it, tell people about it. We're not going to go out and hawk money for it. We're just going to, this is what it is to serve. And within a year, I had $70,000 put together, which was enough for the shower trailer and a truck to haul it. And then we had about another $10,000 left over for miscellaneous, like
For soap.
soap, yeah, soap and towels and everything else that we needed. But I remember walking out of that meeting that night, and the president of our organization put his arm around me. He said, do you know what you just told those folks in there? And I said, pretty sure I do. And I said, John, it's going to happen. All we have to do is talk about it. That's all we have to do. We just have to share our vision with people, and believe me, it's going to come true.
And how has it been received by the community?
Well, when we first started with it, we ran it 12 months out of the year. When COVID hit, that kind of took a toll on the 12 months out of the year thing. So in the winter, when we did run it, we would run it at warming sites. But boy, I'll tell you, it's difficult to run a fully contained shower, in the winter. Mm-hmm. It's just almost impossible to do. So we decided that we're going to run it from the end of March, which is coming up here pretty quick. Probably going to go into April this year because it's still a little cold out. And we'll run it until the end of October or November, whenever the weather, kind of turns. We probably shower on an average. Now, you got to remember, this is in, an hour and a half that we're down there,
Yeah.
2 hours sometimes. We average probably 25 to 30 showers per Saturday. So we have a full team of people that volunteer to do the shower trailer. We don't throw stuff out on tarps anymore.
I know.
Now we hand stuff out, which is the greatest thing we ever, thought of.
I mean, you had it. Now it's size, small,
Yeah,
medium,
yeah,
large. I
yep.
love it.
Yeah. So we have a team that does the shower trailer. They hand out the soap, towels, the sandals, whatever they need to do a shower. And we don't ask them to get out in any certain amount of time because, as everybody knows, I love to shower. So I want them to have that same experience.
And how has it grown over the years as far as the people you're serving? What are you seeing a difference in over the years?
I think our population now will serve, on average right now, we're probably serving 150 people a week. And I've seen that climb a little bit. Like last weekend was very busy. There's no rhyme or reason that there were a lot of new faces last weekend. I don't have a good handle on the homeless population in Milwaukee. I think that let me just put it this way. For me to be able to serve 150 people now they're not all homeless. I get that. But 40% of that population is probably what we call chronic homeless, right?
Right. They're sleeping on somebody's couch.
They're sleeping in a car. They're sleeping in the park or wherever they are. But we also have, people that are just in need. And I think that's the beauty of Mr. Bob's, is that all of the volunteers know that when they come down there, the blinders go on. We don't care why you're here, how you got here, what addictions you have. We're here to serve you today. And when you walk out of this park, we want to make darn sure that you know that we love you and we care for you, and we'll be back next week.
And I think that consistency, Bob, is what has made you and Mr. Bob's Under the Bridge so successful for so many years. Even moving from the downtown location to the south side, people know you'll be there.
Yeah. And, we may move again. I guess it's wherever the wind takes us, but we're going to go where the population needs us the most. We love the park. It's a great opportunity, and it, of course, it's basically Hispanic population, but we love those folks to death. They are so respectful and grateful, and so yeah, it's been a journey, that I can tell you.
And through that journey, what have you learned about yourself?
I don't let much grass grow under my feet. I guess it'd be the easiest thing to say. I mean, when I get on a mission, I'm getting on that mission, and I'm not letting up until it's, either completed or whatever. But I've also learned this, and this has only been in the past year or so, is that I can't do it all. So I am continually working towards backing myself out of the day-to-day and the operational side of it, and I want to enjoy it now. I want to enjoy visiting with our friends and helping them. We started up a new program called the Fresh Start Program, which we're going to look for individuals that are in dire need of health care, dental care, whatever. And we're going to select some of those folks to go through this Fresh Start Program. It hasn't been off the ground yet. We've just had our first committee meeting, so we're still working through all this. My vision, again, which is when I say grass, I want to take an individual and get them from start to finish, meaning that they get out into society and have a real life and a real job. And so hopefully we can accomplish that.
Hopefully. You said all you have to do is speak it.
Yeah.
I think what I love about the work that you do is that you're so committed to it, and it's not about you. Even though your name is on the trailer, even though your name is a part of the 501c3, it's not about you. But you, Bob, are so authentic and so genuine about this cause that I see how it's contagious with your volunteers.
I appreciate you saying that. I really do. And I think what it comes down to for me is it's not about me. It's not about our volunteers. You know what it's about? It's about our friends. Our friends need support. They need to be served. And, you know, the hard thing for me sometimes to explain is that service part of it. I always leave the kids, when kids come down to the park and volunteer, I always leave them with this, is that, hey, you served here today and we are so blessed to have you and we're so grateful to have you. But at the end of the day, you need to go out tomorrow and do the same thing someplace else. Wash your neighbor's windows, take out their garbage, cut their grass. I don't care what it is. Hold the door open for somebody.
Be a help.
Be a help.
And was it hard, or is it hard for you to convince people? Because, you know, real talk, you are working in the city, but you are based in Grafton.
Right.
Okay, so that is a suburb of Milwaukee. Getting folks in the suburbs to want to come down and help in the
Well,
city.
I don't think it's hard.
Okay.
Because I think the way I explain it is it's a bubble. Grafton, Cedarburg, any of Ozaukee County, that's a bubble. And when you bring volunteers and kids from that bubble down, they get a realization what real life is about. I grew up in it. So I grew up not far from here. In fact, I'm Buffum and Hadley. So I grew up in the neighborhood. I think the hard thing is that I don't want them, for me, I don't want them to forget why they were there, number one. And number two, I want that to be carried on in their lives. And like I tell the kids, you know, when you get into college, find somewhere to volunteer. And it doesn't have to be a home, it can be anything. Just do something, right?
Right.
So we have a youth board, which is, and none of these kids are from the city. And I'll tell you what, their eyes open up real quick, but they are the most wonderful group of kids that I've ever had, you know, and this is our 5th year with them, of having a youth board. But they become so, they just love Mr. Bob's. They love helping our friends because that's what we talk about all the time. So the great thing about the youth board is, you know, we always have like 2 seniors. Like we have 2 seniors that are going to graduate this June, and we give them a $1,000 scholarship. And they've been with us for 2 years. So I love the youth. I mean, youth I mean, I'll give you an example. This weekend, we have a youth group from Kosciuszko High School coming down. This is their 8th year, I believe, that we've connected. And they're coming down to volunteer at Mr. Bob's. Kosciuszko.
Wow.
Think about that.
The reach that you have, Bob.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And it's all for, again, like you said,
it's for our friends.
Is there someone in your community doing amazing work? An unsung hero, or someone just with an inspiring story to uplift us all? Well, I want to hear from you because I want to talk to them. Why don't you reach out to me with the email on the screen? And the next time you tune in, they may just be sitting next to me here on the PozCast.